Okay, in this video we're just going to look at saving offline maps on the DJI RC remote, and specifically this is the one I'm using with the DJI Mini 3 Pro. You'll probably notice the video is a bit dark, and that's just so you can see the screen in the remote, so you'll have to bear with me just for a second. So I'll switch the remote on, and a prerequisite to this, you're going to really need a micro SD card in the bottom of the controller, and you'll need to format it in the controller as well. So get yourself a recommended card or a compatible one and format it in the controller. If you don't know how to do any of that, there's a video up in the corner that I'll link to. Head over to that video, do that, and then come back to here. And there's also a couple of other prerequisites to this. One of them is if you click on profile, sorry if you missed that, if you click on profile down at the bottom and you can't see this option here for offline maps, you will need to jump back a step and you'll need to you'll need to do a firmware update on your RC controller, because basically you're on an older firmware version that hasn't yet got the offline maps feature. So I'll link up in the corner again, video on how to do that. So make sure you've got your card, make sure your firmware is updated, and then you can follow this video. And then the next thing you're going to need, if we jump up into the top menu, so we just drag the tray down, we'll need to switch our Wi-Fi on. And sometimes this takes a little while to connect. You should already have an active connection, because when you set the controller up, you need to connect to a Wi-Fi point. So you know, most likely your home Wi-Fi. So unless the password's changed for that, or you're somewhere different and you can't connect to the Wi-Fi, the odds are, you should be okay. So you can see mine's just connected. But if you have an issue with that, just come up to the cog up in the corner here, network and internet, Wi-Fi. And then you can see here you've got the options just to add a Wi-Fi network. You stick in the password, same as you would on a phone, nothing too kind of taxing there. And then jump back, just make sure you're on Wi-Fi. And then we're going to come into our profile like we just did. Offline maps, second from the bottom. And then you can see here we've just got a map of the whole world. And what we want to do is we're going to zoom in, and I live in, I've tilted the map. We live in the UK, or I live in the UK, and then essentially we could just pick a place. So let's say we're going to go out to somewhere in Devon for a shoot, and then you can kind of just keep zooming in. You can see the box kind of moves with me. Now this box is a set size. It's I couldn't tell you exactly what it is, but I think it's about maybe 2 miles to a mile. I think it may even be a bit smaller than that. Maybe a kind of a mile lengthways. But essentially, it is what it is. You just kind of zoom in, and that's the area you grab. You can kind of see it sort of shrinks and goes as you're zooming. So I think a lot of people have got kind of reservations about this, saying that it's not big enough. Why can't you just grab why can't I just grab the whole of Devon, for example? And I'd imagine DJI's reasoning for that is essentially, a mile is a long way. If you're flying by VLOS, visual line of sight, or you're spotting the drone, you can't fly beyond a mile. There's no way you can see a drone beyond a mile. So you essentially, I think they probably think that's really the limit of what people should be doing. But you can always kind of stack these up, and I'll show that in a minute. So let's say we're shooting here, so like Branscombe, and then we can just hit. You can see we've got what's available on our controller and how big the map is, and you'll see that kind of changes as you sort of zoom in. Like the smaller the area you grab, if it's just a few roads, it's a few kilobytes. The biggest usually a map would be is a few megabytes. So you can see there. I'm not going to go too far out, otherwise it's going to take ages to download. So we'll just do one there, and you essentially name it. So I'm just going to call this, it's not the actual place, but I'm just going to call it Devon, because that's that bit, and we'll just hit yes. What I normally would do is I'd name it by the place. So I'd call it Branscombe, but that's just going to take too long for me to start doing all that. And what I actually normally do, I shoot a lot of property shoots, so I do it by like the houses. So when you download these, if I just come over and I'll do another one, so that one's called Salcombe Regis, so we'll just call that, let's just call it Regis, which again is horribly indescript, but for this it will do. And then you can see it's given us the how much of it's downloaded. You can pause the download and so on. And then what we'll do is jump into the downloads tab, and you can see here this one is sort of mid download, and the downloaded one of Devon is there. And we could always come back actually if we click the three dots there, and we could rename it. So if you know that's not descriptive enough, just rename it. And you can see now they're both downloaded, so we've got both of these and they're sort of ready to go. So the advantage of this is essentially, you know, you're just pre-planning your pre-planning your sort of flight route, so you can kind of come in, just pick any places that you think you might go to. It's a little bit like if you're using, say, Google Maps as your sat nav, and you know you're going to hit some black spots in like some country areas, so you just want to kind of be prepared and have all of this, and it saves you having to use like a Wi-Fi hotspot or something while you're out, or downloading things on sort of ropey internet through, you know, a hotel or B&B or whatever it may be. It's just like pre-plan it, do it all in this, and then you know you can kind of get it right. Like I say, if this isn't enough for you, you can literally, you know, just grab one spot there, do one spot there, you know, just basically like build it up. And I know that's slightly annoying, but it's so quick to do. You know, you're just pressing download and then name it, download, name it, and then it's really quick. So you basically just building it up how you want it. And then once you're done with these, if you're not going to use them again, you can just delete them. So just come in, delete, and the same with these two. We don't want those either, so we'll just get rid of them. And like I say, it's just a pre-planning thing, and it's a really useful thing to have. So if you think you know you're going to need this during a flight, then having the detailed map, I mean, I find it really useful. I do this every time before I go out. So yeah, hopefully that's been useful. If it has, give the video a like. If you want to see more videos like this, then please subscribe.